One of my heroes back in the 1840s was a man named Henry David Thoreau. He had a wonderful definition of success. He went to prison, this man, because he refused to pay his taxes to a government that was doing to the people who had been living on this land for 10,000 years and just removing them in the name of our right to do so because of a piece of legislation signed by President Andrew Jackson in 1830 called the Indian Removal Act. It gave anybody the legal right to just remove people who had a language and an educational system and a history of living there. They were just removed. And Thoreau was so anguished by this in Concord, Massachusetts, that he went to prison, refusing to pay his taxes. And his neighbor's name was Ralph Waldo Emerson. He lived 2 streets over and 7 houses down. Those of you who saw my last PBS special know that I recorded it right there in Concord. And Emerson came to the jail at Concord, and he said to Thoreau, he said, "What are you doing in there? We need you out here." He was beginning the Transcendentalist movement, some of the ideas of which I'll be speaking about here today and tomorrow. And Thoreau reportedly said to him, "Ralph, what are you doing out there?" And Emerson paid his bail, and rather than return to his home, he went to live deliberately in the land in a place called Walden Pond out in western Massachusetts. And he wrote an essay on the necessity of civil disobedience. And this is what his definition of success sounded like in that essay. He said, "If you advance confidently in the direction of your own dreams and endeavors, and endeavor to live the life which you have imagined, you will meet with a success unexpected in common hours." That's a really powerful definition of success. That you have things inside of you called dreams and endeavors, and if you live by them, rather than chasing after what it is that you think you would like to have, if you live by that connection to your source, because our thoughts is the way that God thinks through us. Our thoughts is how God thinks through us. And when our thoughts are in rapport with what it is that Spirit is like, everything that the source is capable of doing, you are capable of doing. The greatest teacher who ever came to this planet, who ever walked among us 2,000 years ago, reminded us, after performing miracles and converting water into wine and raising the dead and manifesting the gift of fish and loaves by just his thoughts, the power of his thoughts to attract into our lives whatever it is that he would think about. Such was the energy level at which this man lived, this being lived. He said, "Even the least among you can do all that I have done, and even greater things." It's in every one of us. Every one of us has this capacity to do it. And I stand up here knowing that this is true. See, I know because before I ever showed up here on this planet, I had a conversation with my source, with God. And God said, "What do you want to do this time around?" Because in an infinite world, you get an infinite number of chances at this. And I said, "I'd like to teach self-reliance." And God said, "You really want to teach self-reliance for a whole lifetime?" It's all I've ever done, 62 years later. "You sure you want to teach self-reliance?" I said, "Yes, that's exactly what I'd like to do." He said, "Well, then we better get your little ass into an orphanage. And you better spend a good 10 years there, and you better learn how to rely upon yourself. And once you know how to rely upon yourself, you'll be able to teach it. But if you're waiting for somebody else to teach it, or you're waiting for the right things to show up, and learning self-reliance was what's the great benefit. When people say it must have been a hard time for you as a child, I said, look, when you're 6 years old, you don't wake up every morning and say, oh my God, I'm an orphan again today. Why does this happen to me, not everybody else? You don't do that. You get up and you do whatever you do when you're 6. And then you turn 40 a week or two later. Seems like it, doesn't it? And then you look at your life and you say, oh my God, I got all of these problems, and my wife doesn't understand me, and my kids they just think I'm a jerk, and I'm addicted to this, and I'm poor, and I don't have all these bills. Why is that? Someone said, why is your life so messed up? Well, what do you expect from me? I was an orphan, Or my mother liked my sister better. Or Sarah Lee made me fat, or something. That is back there in our past we rely upon, when in fact we are nothing more than the product of the choices that we make.
Imagine waking up one day to find that your wildest dreams have become your reality. The life you've always yearned for, the abundance, you've craved the love, you've longed for all of it manifested before your very eyes. What if I told you that this is not merely a fantasy, but a truth that lies dormant? Within you, waiting to be awake in the universe, is not some distant, unresponsive entity. It is a living, breathing force that is constantly listening to the whispers of your soul. And once you start asking the universe in the right way, with unwavering faith and conviction, your desires are not just hurt, but they're already done. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly attract abundance, love, and success, while others struggle to make ends meet? The answer lies in the power of your thoughts, your beliefs, and your emotions. They're all powerful frequencies that shape your reality. When you learn to harness this power, when you learn to communicate with the universe in its own language, you become the master of your own destiny. But here's the catch. Most people ask from a place of lack, from a place of doubt and fear. They beg and plead with the universe, hoping for scraps of mercy. But the universe does not respond to desperation. It responds to faith. It responds to the unshakable belief that what you desire is already yours. So how do you ask the universe in a way that guarantees results? How do you tap into the limitless abundance that is your birthright? The answer lies in the power of your imagination, love, assumption. And the inevitability of manifest your imagination is the creative force within you, the tool that allows you to shape your reality when you visualize your desires with vivid detail and unwavering faith. You are sending a powerful signal to the universe. You are telling it that what you desire has already done the law. Assumption states that whatever you assume to be true, the universe will make real. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you live in the end result of your desires, you are aligning yourself the frequency of abundance. You are telling the universe that you are ready to receive, that you are worthy of your dreams. And here's the best part. Once you start asking the universe, like this manifestation becomes inevitable, the universe will conspire to bring your desires to fruition, to align the people, circumstances, and events necessary to make your dreams a reality. All you need to do is trust the process, to let go of doubt and fear, and to maintain unwavering faith in the inevitability of your success. So my friends, I invite you to embrace this practice with every fiber of your being, to wake up each day with a sense of excitement and anticipation, knowing that your desires are on their way to cultivate a deep sense of gratitude for the blessings in your life, even before they have manifested, to surrender to the perfect timing and unfolding of the universe, trusting that everything is happening for your highest good. And above all, I invite you to remember the truth of who you are. You are not just a physical being confined to the limitations of this earthly realm. You are an infinite, eternal, powerful creator with the ability to shape your reality in any way you choose. Your divine spark of the universe itself is a unique expression of the infinite intelligence that pervades all things as you go forth from this moment. Carry this truth with you. Let it be your guiding light, your North Star, your unwavering conviction. Know that you are worthy of your desires, that you're capable of manifesting miracles, that you are loved and supported by the universe in every moment. And when challenges arise, when doubts creep in, when the journey seems long and uncertain, remember the words of the great mystic Rumi: what you seek is seeking you. Your desires are not some distant, unattainable fantasy. They are the very essence of your being, the call of your soul. Trust in their inevitability and let them guide you home. So my friends, go forth with faith, with conviction, with unwavering belief in the power of your dreams, manifest miracles, create magic, and live a life beyond your wildest imagination. The universe is waiting for you, cheering you on, conspiring in your faith. All you have to do is say yes, yes to your desires. Yes to your dreams. Yes to the infinite possibility that lies within you. Yes to a life of joy, abundance, and limitless potential. Yes to the magic and miracles of the universe. Now and always, thank you for joining me on this journey of manifestation. May your dreams take like. May your desires become reality, and may your life be a living testament to the power of your faith. The universe is yours, my friends. Claim it, own it, and let it lead you to a life beyond your wildest dreams. But every step along the bridge of incidents is necessary. Every challenge, every setback, every unexpected twist and turn is part of the divine plan. It's all leading you closer to your desires, even when it doesn't feel like it. The key to navigating the bridge of incidents is to trust the process, to surrender to the journey, even when you can't see the way forward, to have faith that the universe is conspiring in your favor, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. Trusting the process means letting go of your attachment to the outcome. It means releasing your grip on the how and when of manifestation and allowing the universe to guide you. It means being open to the unexpected, to the miracles and synchronicities that show up along the way. When you trust the process, you open yourself up to the magic of manifestation. You allow the universe to work its wonders to bring you what you desire in ways that are beyond your wildest dreams. You become a co-creator with the universe, a partner in the dance of manifestation. The trusting the process isn't always easy. It requires a deep level of faith, a willingness to surrender to the unknown. It requires you to let go of your need for control. You need to have everything figured out. It requires you to embrace the mystery, to trust that everything is unfolding in perfect divine timing. One way to cultivate trust in the process is through the practice of gratitude. Gratitude is the act of acknowledging and appreciating the blessings in your life even before your desires have manifested. When you practice gratitude, you shift your focus from lack to abundance, from scarcity to sufficiency. You train your mind to see the good in every situation. To find the silver lining in every cloud, gratitude is also a powerful way to align yourself with the vibration of your desires. When you feel grateful for what you want, even before it is manifested, you are sending a clear signal to the universe that you are ready to receive your gift. You are telling the universe that you trust in its abundance. Way to cultivate trust in the process is through the practice of surrender. Surrender is the act of letting go of your attachment to the outcome of releasing your need to control every aspect of your life. When you surrender, you are not giving up on your desires. You are giving them over to a higher power, to the infinite wisdom of the universe. Surrender requires a deep level of trust, the willingness to let go and allow the universe to guide you. It means being open to the unexpected, to the twists and turns. Along the bridge of incidents, it means trusting that everything is happening for your highest good. Even when it doesn't make sense in the moment, when you cultivate trust, in the process, when you practice gratitude and surrender manifestation becomes effortless. Your desires flow to you with ease and grace, and your life becomes a living testament to the power of your faith. You become a magnet for miracles, conduit for the abundance of the universe as we come to the end of this journey. I want to remind you of the incredible power that lies within you. The power to create your reality, to manifest your deepest desires, to live a life beyond your wildest dreams. This power is not some distance unattainable, for it is the very essence of who you are. It is the birthright of every human being on this planet. Throughout this speech, we've explored the key principles manifest and the power of imagination, the law of assumption, the art of asking. We've discovered that the universe is not some separate entity, but a live, breathing extension of our own consciousness, that our thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions create our reality. And that by aligning ourselves with the vibration of our desires, we can manifest miracles on demand. But the journey of manifestation is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong practice. It requires a daily commitment to aligning your thoughts, beliefs, and actions with the reality you want to create. It requires a willingness to let go of limiting beliefs, to embrace the unknown, to trust in the perfect timing of the universe. And yet, the rewards of this practice are beyond measure when you live from a place of faith and conviction, when you trust in the inevitability of your desires. Your life becomes a living testament to the power of manifestation. You attract people, circumstances, and opportunities that support your vision. You experience a level of joy, abundance, and fulfillment that most people only dream of. Conviction is the unshakable belief in the truth of your desires, is the inner knowing that what you want is already yours, that it's your divine right to experience abundance, love. When you ask with conviction, you are not just making a request, you are making a command. You are telling the universe that this is what you expect, that this is what you demand. You are not asking for permission. You are claiming your birthright. But conviction isn't just about the words you speak. It's about the energy. Behind those words, it's about the feeling of certainty, of unwavering faith that infuses every cell of your being. When you ask with conviction, you're not just speaking your desires. You're becoming the vibrational much for what you want to experience. The third step in the art of asking is to let go of doubt and fear. Doubt and fear are the enemies of manifestation. They are the voices in your head that tell you it's not possible, that you're not worthy, that you'll never have what you want. They are the limiting beliefs that keep you stuck in a cycle of lack and limitations. But here's the thing, doubt and fear are just thoughts. They're not the truth of who you are. You have the power to choose your thoughts, to choose your beliefs, to choose your assumptions. When you let go of doubt and fear, you create space for faith and conviction to take root. One powerful way to let go of doubt and fears through the practice of surrender. Surrender is the act of releasing your attachment to the outcome, of trusting that the universe has your back. Even when you can't see the way forward, when you surrender, you're not giving up on your desires, giving them to a higher power, to the infinite wisdom of the universe. Surrender requires a deep level of trust, a willingness to let go of control and allow the universe to guide you. It requires you to release your grip on the how and when of manifestation, and to trust that everything is unfolding in perfect divine timing. The final step in the art of asking is to align your thoughts and actions with your desires. Manifestation is not just about asking, it's about becoming coming. It's about aligning every aspect of your being with the reality you want to create. This means thinking thoughts that match your desires, speaking words that affirm your worth, abundance, and taking actions that move you closer to your goals. It means living as if your desires are already a reality, even before they manifest in your physical world. When you align your thoughts and actions with your desires, you become a magnet for miracles, you attract people's circumstances, opportunities that support your vision. You create a life that is a living testament to the power of your faith and conviction. So my friends, I invite you to master the art of asking. Ask with faith, with conviction, and with unwavering belief in the truth of your desires. Let go of without and feared and surrender to the perfect timing and unfolding of the universe. Align your thoughts and actions with your desires and become the vibrational match for the reality you want to create. When you do, miracles become commonplace. The universe conspires to bring your desires into manifest. Life becomes a living testament to the power of your asking. Master the art of asking and watch as your wildest dreams become your everyday reality. When you master the art of asking, when you align your thoughts, beliefs, and actions with the reality of your desires, manifestation becomes inevitable. It's not a question of if your desires will manifest, but when the universe is always listening, always responding to the vibration you are offering, and when you offer a vibration of faith, conviction, and unwavering belief, the universe has no choice but to deliver. But how exactly does manifestation work? How does the universe take your desires and turn them into physical reality? The answer lies in the concept of the bridge of incidents. The bridge of incidents is the series of events, people, and circumstances that the universe orchestrates to bring your desires into manifestation. It's the way the universe connects the dots, aligns the pieces of the puzzle, and creates the perfect conditions for your desires to come to fruition. When you ask for something, the universe immediately begins to arrange the bridge of incidents. It starts to move people and circumstances into place to create opportunities and open doors that will lead you to your desired out. It's like a cosm game of dominoes where each piece falls perfectly into place, creating a chain reaction of manifestation. But here's the thing. The bridge of incidents doesn't always look the way you expect it to sometimes. It takes you on a journey that seems unrelated to your desires. Sometimes it brings you challenges and obstacles that you must overcome. Sometimes it requires you to take leaps of faith and trust in the unknown. No. Hoping, wishing, or striving for your desire. Instead, you're living as if they're already a reality, as if they have already manifested in your life. This is a subtle but profound shift in consciousness. Most people spend their lives in a state of wanting a feeling like they're lacking something they believe that they will be happy when they finally achieve their goals, when they finally manifest their desires. But the truth is that state of wanting only perpetuates more wanting. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of lack and limitation. The law of assumption you to break free from that cycle, to step into the reality of your desires right now. It invites you to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to embody the energy of abundance, love, and success, even before it shows up in your physical reality. So how to do that? You live in the end. Even when your current circumstances don't match your desired reality, the key is persistence. It's about maintaining the state of your wish fulfillment, even in the face of doubts, fear, or setbacks. When you first start practicing the law of assumption, it can feel uncomfortable, even delusional. Your mind will try to convince you that it's not real, that you're just fooling yourself. But the more you persist in maintaining the state of your wish fulfilled, the more natural it becomes. You start to see evidence of your desire manifesting in your life, and your faith grows stronger. One powerful way to maintain the state of yours fulfilled is through affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that you repeat to yourself either out loud or silently that reinforce your desired reality. For example, if your desire is to manifest financial abundance, you might repeat affirmations like, I am a magnet for money. Abundance flows to me easily and effortlessly. I'm worthy of all the wealth and prosperity I desire. By repeating these affirmations consistently, you are reprogrammed in your subconscious mind to align with the reality of your desires. You're shifting your assumptions, your beliefs, and your inner conversations to match the frequency of abundance. Another way to maintain the state of your wish fulfilled. Visualization, as we discussed earlier, visualization is a powerful tool for engaging your imagination and aligning yourself with the frequency of your desires. When you visualize your desired reality with vivid detail and emotion, you are sending a clear signal to the universe that this is what you want to experience. But the key to effective visualization is to engage all of your senses, not just your visual sense imagined, not just what your desired reality looks like or what it feels like, smells like, tastes like, and sounds like. The more fully you engage your senses, the more real your visualization becomes to your subconscious mind. The law of assumption is not just a tool for manifestation. It is a way of being. When you live from a place of assumption, you are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You become the creator of your reality, master of your destiny. You recognize that your assumptions, your beliefs, and your inner conversations have the power to shape your experience of life. And you choose to align them with the reality of your desires. Now that we've explored the power of imagination and the law of assumption, let's dive into the art of asking. Asking is the bridge between your desires and their manifestation. It's the way you communicate with the universe, the way you declare your intentions, and set the wheels of creation in motion. But here's the thing. Most people don't know how to ask. They ask from a place of lack of desperation or fear. They beg and plead with the universe, hoping for scraps of mercy. But the universe doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to faith. It responds to the unwavering conviction that what you desire is already your soul. How do you ask in a way that guarantees results? The first step is to ask with faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you ask with faith, you're not hoping or wishing for your desires to manifest. You are declaring that they are already done. You are aligning yourself with the reality of your desires even before they show up in your physical world. This kind of faith requires a deep trust in the universe and knowing that your desires are not just possible but inevitable. It requires you to release your attachment to the how and when of manifestation and to surrender to the perfect timing and unfolding of the universe. The second step in the art of asking is to ask with conviction. So my friends, are you ready to have your world turned upside down? Are you ready to experience the limitless abundance that is your birthright? Then join me on this journey of manifestation as we explore the art of asking the universe in a way that guarantees results your wildest dreams are about to become your everyday reality. The power of your imagination is the key to unlocking the limitless potential within you. It is the creative force that allows you to shape your reality, to bring your desires into manifestation. When you harness the power of your imagination, you become the architect of your own destiny. But what exactly is imagination? And how does it work? Imagination is the ability to create mental images to visualize scenarios and possibilities that don't yet exist in the physical world. It is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the link between the infinite potential of the universe and the tangible reality of your life. When you imagine something with vivid detail and unwavering faith, you're sending a powerful signal to the universe. You are telling it that what you desire is already done, that it is already yours. The universe doesn't distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It simply responds to the frequency of your thoughts and emotions. So how do you cultivate the power of your imagination? The first step is to get clear on what you truly desire. What does your ideal life look like? What kind of relationships, experiences, and abundance Do you want to attract the most specific and detailed your vision? The more powerful your imagination becomes once you have a clear vision. The next step is to engage your senses. Imagine not just the visual aspects of your desire, but the sounds, smells, tastes, and textures as well. The more fully you engage your senses, the more real your imagination becomes to your subconscious mind. For example, if your desire is to manifest your dream home, imagine yourself walking through front door, feel the texture of the doorknob in your hand, the sensation, the floor beneath your feet, the aroma of your favorite scent wafting through the air. Hear the laughter and conversation of your loved ones echoing through the rooms. The more vividly you imagine, the more powerfully you align yourself with the frequency of your desire. But the power of imagination goes beyond just visualizing your desires. It also involves assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. In other words, it means living as if your desires are already a reality even before they manifest in the physical world. This is where the law of assumption comes into play. The law of assumption states that whatever you assume to be true, the universe will make real when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You are aligning yourself with the frequency of abundance, love, and success. You are telling the universe that you are ready to receive, that you are worthy of your dream. So how do you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled? One powerful technique is to practice gratitude in advance instead of waiting for your desires to manifest before you. Feel grateful, start expressing gratitude. Now, for what you know is on its way, say things like, "Thank you, universe, for my dream home. I am so grateful to wake up every morning in a space that fills me with joy and inspiration." By expressing gratitude in advance, you are aligning yourself with the frequency of abundance and attracting more what you desire. Another technique is to act as if your desire is already a reality. If your desire is to manifest a loving relationship, start treating yourself with the love and respect you desire from a partner. Take yourself on dates, buy yourself flowers, and speak kindly to yourself in the mirror by embodying the energy of love. You attract more love into your life. The power of imagination is not just a tool for manifestation, it is a way of life. When you live from a place of imagination, you open yourself up to infinite possibilities. You become a magnet for American conduit for the limitless abundance of the universe. The law of assumption is a powerful principle that can transform your life in ways you never thought possible. It states that whatever you assume to be true, the universe will make real. In other words, your assumptions create your reality. Think about that for a moment. Your assumptions, your beliefs, your inner conversations, they all have the power to shape your experience of life. When you assume that you are worthy of love and abundance, the universe responds by bringing more love and abundance into your life. When you assume that you are capable of achieving your dreams, the universe comes to make those dreams a reality. But the law of assumption goes even deeper, that it's not just about assuming positive things, it's about living in the end, about embodying the feeling of your wish fulfilled when you live in the end. There comes a quiet moment in every life, a soft inner ache, a gentle trembling in the heart, where the soul whispers, "You were never meant to be a number. You were born to be a presence." We live in a world obsessed with measurement. How much you earn, how many followers you have, what title you hold, what you've accomplished by 30. Whether your waistline fits within the narrow confines of cultural praise, but none of these metrics know your soul. None of them touch the eternal. None of them measure peace or kindness or the divine breath you carry within you, the breath that was given freely before you even knew the word success. From the moment we open our eyes to this world, we're trained to calculate our worth. We're taught to compare, to strive, to accumulate, to improve, not out of joy, but out of a sense that we're not yet enough. The world doesn't say be, it says prove. And in that proving, we forget the sacred stillness from which we came. But I'm here to remind you of a truth older than the stars and closer than your breath. You are already worthy. You don't have to earn your place in the universe. You belong by virtue of your being. Not your doing, not your performing, not your producing. Your being, your mere miraculous being, is enough. There's no tree in the forest trying to be taller than the one next to it. No cloud hurrying across the sky to impress the wind. There's no flower blushing in shame for blooming late. And yet we, the most conscious expressions of life, forget to simply be what we are. We trade the vastness of our soul for the tight corset of identity. We strap on labels like badges, CEO, failure, mother, addict, survivor, millionaire, dropout. And we forget that before any of that, we were light, pure, untouched, infinite. And when we forget that truth, we suffer. Not because life is punishing us, but because we've wandered too far from what's real. We've bought into the illusion that our value is conditional, that love is earned, that rest is lazy, that joy must be deserved. But the soul doesn't deal in conditions. It doesn't wait for your resume. It doesn't ask for your credentials. The soul only asks, will you come home? Will you return to the quiet within you? Will you remember that peace isn't something you find, it's something you stop resisting? That freedom is not out there. It's in the release of everything that tells you you're not already free. You see, the great lie of the ego is this, that you are not yet complete and that the world holds the missing piece. So we chase, we race. We measure our lives in outcomes and accolades, in pounds lost and dollars gained, but no measurement ever touches fulfillment. It only feeds the hunger. And so I ask you, what if today you stopped chasing? What if you paused fully, deeply, and allowed yourself to just be, not as a tactic, not as a spiritual strategy, but as a holy return? Being is not the absence of ambition. It is the return to alignment. It is the end of striving for what you already are. It is the willingness to feel your own presence and say, this is enough. I am enough. This breath is holy. This moment is sacred. The world may not applaud that choice. It may even call it irresponsible, but your soul will rise in celebration. It will dance in the silence. It will recognize itself again, not in the mirror of the world, but in the mirror of God. And there, in that sacred recognition, suffering begins to dissolve. Because suffering lives in resistance, in the gap between what is and what we think should be. Suffering is the product of a mind that has forgotten its divine origin. It is the child of measurement, the offspring of comparison. But presence, true presence, is the antidote. When you are here, fully here, you can't suffer. You can feel pain, yes. You can feel sadness. But suffering requires a story, and presence dissolves the story. It brings you back to the now, where the soul lives, where grace is not a reward, but the air you breathe. So breathe, beloved soul. Not to reach somewhere, not to escape, but to return. Return to the truth that you are not a project to fix. You are a masterpiece to feel. You don't have to earn your peace. You only have to stop blocking it. You don't need more time. You need more presence. You don't need more approval. You need more truth. And your truth is this. You were never meant to be measured. You were meant to be experienced, felt, lived, loved. Let go of the performance. Let go of the applause. Let go of the silent scoreboard in your mind, ticking off wins and losses. You are not a contestant in the game of life. You are the awareness of life itself. And when you live from that awareness, a great peace arrives, a sacred clarity. You no longer try to prove your worth, you embody it. You no longer grasp for success, you magnetize it through alignment. You no longer chase love, you become it. You no longer strive for freedom. You realize you are always free. Let the world chase. Let it measure. Let it calculate. You be still. You be love. You be now. Because the only thing that truly transforms your life is not what you achieve, but how deeply you remember who you are. And you, dear soul, are a being of light. You are not your resume. You are not your mistakes. You are not your bank account. You are not your weight, your status, your accolades. You are not your history. You are presence. You are divine awareness expressing itself through human form. And you are free to stop measuring and start being right now. And so, in the space where you stop measuring, something miraculous happens. The noise quiets. The inner critic, that relentless architect of self-judgment, begins to lose its grip. Because it cannot survive in stillness. It feeds on striving, on judgment, on comparison, but it starves in presence. The moment you choose to simply be, it fades like a shadow under sunlight. You begin to hear something else. A subtler voice. A softer current running beneath the surface of your thoughts. It is not loud, it never was, but it has always been there waiting. This is the voice of your soul. The part of you that has never doubted your worth, never questioned your belonging, never once asked you to be more than you already are. This is the voice that says, you were born of stars, and stars do not audition to shine. You were born of light, and light never apologizes for its presence. You were born whole, not to become, but to remember. And as you begin to remember, you shed the layers that never truly belong to you. The need to compare, the compulsion to impress, the addiction to validation, they fall away. Like old garments you no longer need to wear. You start noticing the sacred in the ordinary. The way sunlight dances on a leaf, the sound of your own breath echoing eternity, the eyes of a stranger that reflect your own humanity back to you. These are not small things, they are everything. They are life as it was always meant to be lived, in presence, in awe, in deep intimacy with now. You no longer rush through moments to get somewhere else, because you realize there is no there. There is only ever here. And in the here, everything you sought out there is already waiting. Peace is here. Love is here. God is here. And you, when you stop measuring, are finally here too. When you live in the now, the ego becomes quiet. Because the ego lives in time. It thrives in future and past, in what could have been and what might be. But the soul is timeless. It lives only in presence. It does not measure time. It feels eternity in a moment. And that is your invitation to trade time for presence, to trade striving for stillness, to trade your to-do list for your to-be list. Because in the end, no one remembers how efficient you were. They remember how present you were. They remember your presence the way you made them feel safe, seen, loved, and alive. That is the legacy of a being who has stopped measuring and started being. We are not here to climb ladders that lead nowhere. We are not here to chase carrots on sticks made of illusions. We are here to feel, to awaken, to remember, to love. And love, true love, does not measure. It does not say, I will love you when. It does not ask, what have you done to deserve me? Love simply is. It does not come from achievement. It does not bloom from performance. It arises when you strip away everything false and stand naked in your truth. To stop measuring is to return to love. To stop measuring is to let go of the scales that were never built to weigh what really matters. You cannot measure compassion. You cannot graph grace. You cannot chart the depth of a soul. These things defy metrics because they are infinite, and so are you. So take a breath. Right here, right now. No improvement necessary, no milestone required, no applause needed. Just be. Feel the divine pulse inside your chest. Feel the quiet miracle of being alive. Feel the unearned grace that holds you even when you fall. You are not your productivity. You are not your progress report. You are not a performance. You are a sacred being of light, here to embody truth. And the truth is this: you are already home. You always were. When you stop measuring, you return to your breath. And when you return to your breath, you return to life. Not the life dictated by schedules and goals and expectations, but the life that existed before language, the life that simply is. A tree does not keep track of its growth. A bird does not tally how many times it sings. The ocean does not measure its waves. It simply moves, it simply flows, it simply is. And so can you. The spiritual path is not about adding more. It is about subtracting all that is not you. The metrics, the labels, the masks, all of it can fall away. And underneath, what remains is not lacking, not unfinished, not unworthy, but whole. This wholeness cannot be earned. It cannot be achieved. It must be remembered. You were born with it. You are it. The tragedy is not that we forget who we are. The tragedy is that we spend so much of our lives trying to become what we never needed to be. And yet, even this forgetting is part of the sacred journey. The soul is not in a hurry. It is patient, like the stars, like the mountains, like eternity itself. It waits quietly, faithfully, until you are ready to return. And when you do, it welcomes you without judgment. Because your soul has never once measured your worth. It has only loved you. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where your growth lives. And this moment, this breath is enough. Yes, the world will tempt you to keep measuring. It will hand you new yardsticks every day, more goals, more boxes to check, more comparisons to make. But each time you feel the urge to measure, pause, breathe, feel, and ask yourself, is this who I really am? Or is this who I've been taught to be? Because your being is not here to compete. It is here to radiate. It is here to live from the inside out. When you live from being, not from doing, everything becomes an act of presence. Washing a dish becomes meditation. Holding a hand becomes communion. Walking down the street becomes a miracle. And your life, simple, unmeasured, becomes a sanctuary. You will notice that joy begins to arise, not because you finally arrived somewhere, but because you finally stopped trying to arrive. You realize that the now is not a step on the path, it is the path. And the path is made of presence. And presence is the portal through which love, healing, and freedom enter. When you stop measuring, you allow yourself to feel again. Truly feel. Not analyze or fix or control, but feel. And feeling is sacred. Tears are sacred. Stillness is sacred. The soft ache in your chest that you've been trying to outrun for years, that too is sacred. It's not here to be solved, it's here to be held. And when you hold it with love, without trying to change it, you are being, you are healing, you are returning to the truth. The truth is, you were never meant to be someone else's idea of success. You were never meant to fit into a mold that has no room for your soul. You were never meant to look outward for permission to rest, to breathe, to feel worthy. Your worth is not on trial. It is not up for negotiation. It is not subject to the opinions of others. It is yours, innate, divine, eternal. You do not need to become more valuable. You need only to stop believing you are not already sacred. Let go of the checklist that says, when I get there, then I'll be enough. Let go of the scoreboard that keeps track of wins and losses in a game your soul never agreed to play. Let go of the measuring tape wrapped around your life like chains. Let it all fall. And in the silence that remains, listen. You'll hear the whisper, you were always enough. And this is not a concept, it is a vibration. It is a knowing that arises not from your mind, but from your being. It does not speak in loud declarations, it sings in stillness. It moves like warm light across your skin. It lives in your breath, in your body, in your eyes when they stop trying to impress and simply see. The deeper you enter this truth, the more you begin to notice what is no longer needed. Old thoughts, old beliefs, old identities. They begin to shed themselves like autumn leaves, not because you're fighting them, but because they no longer fit the energy of who you are becoming. And who you are becoming is not a better version of who you were. It is a freer, truer revelation of who you have always been. This is the paradox of the spiritual path. You do not become someone new. You unbecome everything that is not you. You are not here to chase enlightenment like a prize. You are here to remember it is already within you. And you will not remember through effort. You will remember through surrender, through softness, through trust that your being is enough. Trust that your presence is your power. Trust that you don't need to be extraordinary to be divine. You already are. You were created from the same source that made oceans, galaxies, laughter, and music. You were formed by the same love that spins the planets. That love lives in you. And it asks nothing of you except that you let go of anything that tells you otherwise. So take another breath. Let it fill you, not with pressure, but with peace. Let it remind you, you are not your output. You are not your timeline. You are not your follower count. You are not your past. You are presence. You are love. You are here. And here, in this unmeasured, undivided, unapologetic moment is where life truly begins. There is a deep freedom in no longer needing to keep score, no longer needing to prove, no longer needing to rise each day with the burden of not yet. It is the freedom to greet the morning without the story, to meet your own eyes in the mirror and see not a project to fix, but a soul to embrace. It is the end of the exhausting chase. And in that ending, life begins to feel like breath again, slow, sacred, effortless. You don't have to achieve peace. You only have to stop resisting it. You don't have to manufacture worthiness. You only have to stop burying it beneath layers of who you think you should be. Peace is not the reward for doing everything right. It's the natural state that returns when you stop trying to be someone else and you are enough. Not because of your titles, not because of your achievements, not because of your productivity, but because you are an emanation of life itself. Look around you, the stars, the rivers, the seasons, none of them strive to prove they belong. They simply are. And so are you. Worthy without earning, valuable without proof, beautiful without measurement. When you rest in being, a different kind of clarity arrives. Not the kind you think your way into the kind you feel. A knowing in your bones that says, I can let go now. I can breathe now. I can allow now. And the moment you allow yourself to be here fully, the whole world softens around you. The tension you carried in your shoulders dissolves. The story you were repeating in your mind goes quiet. The craving to be somewhere else fades because you are no longer divided against yourself. To be is to unify, to gather every part of you, the frightened parts, the joyful parts, the grieving parts, the grateful parts, and bring them into presence, into love, into now. And in that reunion, there is power. Not the power of dominance or control, but the power of presence. The power that cannot be taken, cannot be stolen, cannot be diminished, because it was never external to begin with. You stop chasing validation from others because your inner being no longer begs for permission to exist. You stop shrinking to fit spaces that were never built to hold your fullness. You stop editing your truth just to be accepted because you realize your truth is not up for negotiation. Your soul is not here for performance. It is here for embodiment. And embodiment means being fully present with what is. You start to notice that the love you were searching for in achievement has always lived in stillness. That the safety you sought in status has always been waiting in your own breath. That the belonging you craved in outer circles is already alive within your inner circle, the sacred place where your soul sits in silence and says, "Welcome home." This is not passivity. This is power. This is not resignation. This is realignment. You're not giving up on your dreams. You're letting go of the illusion that you need to measure yourself against them to be enough. You're no longer climbing a ladder to reach your own worth. You're standing on sacred ground and realizing you were already whole. And as this truth roots itself in you, the fear begins to dissolve. Fear is born from separation, the belief that who you are is not enough for what life demands. But when you remember your essence, fear has no ground to stand on. It may visit, but it no longer owns you, because you are rooted in being, not in outcome, not in perception, but in the eternal now. This now, this breath, is not a step to somewhere else. It is the destination. And in this destination, nothing is missing. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are simply arriving into the deeper truth that nothing needs to be added to what is already sacred. And in this sacredness, you begin to feel gratitude, not the performative kind, but the embodied kind. The kind that bubbles up when you look at your hands and remember how much they've carried. The kind that rises when you watch the wind move through the trees and realize it's moving through you too. The kind that humbles you to tears when you remember this life is a gift, not a test. A classroom, not a courtroom. A miracle, not a measurement. And so you bow, not in defeat, but in reverence. You bow to the soul within you. You bow to the moments that broke you open. You bow to the pain that taught you to feel. You bow to the silence that brought you home. You bow to the path that led you back to now. Being is the art of bowing inward, of surrendering not as a loss, but as a sacred return. And when you surrender the measurement, the comparisons, the timelines, the scorecards, you make space for what's real. You make space for joy, for grace, for truth. And truth will never demand you to be anything other than what you already are. The world will still spin, people will still chase, noise will still rise around you like a storm of urgency, but you will be anchored because you no longer live by the rhythm of performance. You live by the rhythm of presence, and that rhythm is slow, sacred, timeless. You walk differently when you're no longer rushing to prove. You breathe differently when you're no longer trying to convince. You love differently when you stop asking for permission to be whole. Everything shifts when you stop measuring and start being. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to defend it. You just live it quietly, authentically, unapologetically. And from that stillness, real transformation is born. Not the kind that makes headlines, the kind that makes peace, the kind that frees you from the invisible chains of comparison, the kind that awakens a soft smile in your heart because you finally remember you are not missing anything, you were never broken, you were only buried under expectations that were never yours. You can release them now. You can forgive the part of you that tried to earn love. You can forgive the part of you that thought it had to be perfect to be safe. You can forgive the part of you that measured worth by productivity, by applause, by progress. None of those parts were wrong. They were just trying to survive in a world that taught them they weren't enough. But now you know better. And because you know better, you can love deeper. And because you love deeper, you live freer. The path of being is not without pain, but it is without resistance. And without resistance, pain becomes something else. It becomes teacher. It becomes sculptor. It becomes the sacred invitation to drop deeper into the now, into yourself, into truth. And the truth is not complicated. It is not wrapped in formulas or hidden behind achievements. It is simple, like all great things. It sounds like this. You are loved, you are whole, you are here. And here is enough. Here is the temple. Here is the miracle. You may have spent years believing you had to earn what was already yours, that you had to climb to be seen, that you had to hustle to be worthy. But let me remind you again, you were seen the moment you were born. You were worthy the moment you breathed. You belonged before you even spoke your name. All the chasing, all the striving, all the measuring, it brought you to the edge of yourself. And now you get to leap, not into more striving, but into surrender. Not into improvement, but into acceptance. Not into performance, but into peace. You were not born to be consumed by judgment. You were born to reflect light, to embody truth, to walk this earth as love made visible. So stop counting, stop comparing, stop justifying your being with what you produce. You are not a brand. You are not a business card. You are not a label. You are life itself. And life, real life, cannot be measured. It is felt, it is lived, it is breathed. When you finally stop measuring, you rediscover wonder. You walk outside and realize that the sky does not ask for your resume. The sunrise doesn't care if you met your goals. The trees aren't waiting for you to be perfect. They celebrate your being. Because all of nature understands what we so often forget, that your presence is enough, that your soul is worthy just by existing. So today, I invite you to start again, not by doing more, but by doing less. By slowing down, by breathing deeper, by listening inward, by walking gently through your life with your heart wide open. Not as someone trying to win at life, but as someone finally willing to live. And to live is to be raw, to be honest, to be seen without needing to impress, to be kind to yourself even when you fall short, to be awake to the miracle of the mundane, to be love, not as a performance, but as a posture, to be truth, not as a philosophy, but as your natural state. And when you are being, truly being, you are free. Free from the race, free from the metrics, free from the cage of not enough. This is not the end of your journey, it is the beginning of your return. And you return not to an ideal, not to a goal, but to yourself. The self that doesn't need fixing, the self that isn't waiting to arrive. The self that has been patiently whispering all along, you are already it. So be still, be soft, be aware, be alive. And remember, you don't need to measure the moment. You just need to be in it. You don't need to measure your worth. You just need to feel it. You don't need to measure the progress. You just need to trust the process. Because life, true, rich, unfiltered life begins the moment you stop measuring and start being.